team pick.
All right, we're back after a pretty short break there between games as we're getting ready for game 2 here as we're in the draft stage as we saw compLexity take game 1. And I was thinking, okay, what do you do? We had Digital Chaos open up with a slight variation in their starting bands from what we saw from the Shanghai Major. We saw in in all 3 games that these teams played, the Wisp, Bane opening in their bands. Digital Chaos, they've chosen to change it up with this series. They've gone for the Wisp Gyro last game, and now they've gone for it again this time. But is the issue there in which hero that you ban between Bane and Gyro? I'm not sure. Both those heroes are 2 of the most successful heroes for compLexity. It's also 2 of the most played heroes for them. So I don't really know if that's one of the bans that you can really change. And of course, the Wisp. We've only seen compLexity play the Wisp twice of late, and that's because they've been given it, and they opened up with the Wisp Tiny opening. They did it against Shazam, they did it against Enemy GG, and they're 100% win rate on it right now. So I don't know if you can necessarily even take away that Wisp. So maybe the issue isn't your banning phase. Maybe that's not how you do with it. Maybe you have to just say, okay, what do we do well? And let's go and focus on some of those heroes a little bit more. And I'm glad that Digital Chaos is maybe taking a little bit of that route, because we saw them not really go with their more successful, more consistent picks that we've seen them play a lot. But this game they are. They're picking up the Oracle, which they've showed a lot of play with. It's actually their most played hero in the past month. They've also picked up their Enchantress and Beastmaster, which are also, I think all of those are in the top 6 or 7, maybe even the top 10. So I'm glad that they're going with things that they're just comfortable with, heroes that have been really good for them. Because last game, they just kept falling behind in compLexity, and they didn't really get the whole game plan together. I don't know, like I said, they just didn't really do anything in the mid game. They had heroes to do things, but they didn't actually do anything, and they just kind of sat and waited and hoped that, I guess, Mason would carry them in the end, but it just didn't pan out. But let's catch up in the draft as we talked about a little bit of the picks here, but we've got the Wisp, the Gyro, the Ancient Apparition, and the Crystal Maiden banned out by Digital Chaos. The bans for compLexity were the Venge, the Bane, they banned out their own Bane, Lone Druid, and Viper. As for the picks, we already mentioned Digital Chaos with the Oracle, the Enchantress, and the Beastmaster. But compLexity, they've gone a little bit of a different route than we've really seen them play much of, but it's the Batrider, the Juggernaut, and the Undying. Which is interesting because I talked about Digital Chaos going with some of their comfort heroes and heroes that they've played a lot in the last month. These aren't heroes that compLexity have played a lot in the last month. We have seen them play some of these heroes, but certainly they're not in their top 5 or 10. So it's interesting to see that kind of the teams kind of switching what they're going to be picking and whether or not they're going with heroes that they play a lot. But I guess the ball is really in Digital Chaos's court to find a way to win this game and to get a little bit further into the series. As Zeus is going to be the 4th pick for them. So now we can start somewhat formulating the lanes. We've got a Zeus, which we expect to probably be mid, Beastmaster, off lane, Enchantress. Sometimes we see her as an offlaner, and maybe that's what compLexity was potentially thinking after the opening pick of Oracle Enchantress, that maybe it was going to be an offlane Digital Chaos, or an offlane Enchantress for Digital Chaos, as they kind of play both. They play the support Enchantress as well as the offlane Enchantress. But now that we see the Beastmaster get picked up, we know Beastmaster's offlane, Zeus mid, support Enchantress, defensive support in the Oracle, and we're just waiting on the hard carry for them. As for compLexity, well, we've got a Batrider, which we expect to be offlane, Juggernaut we expect to be safe lane, Undying we expect to be one of the supports. We might even see that Undying go up top with the Batrider to start things off. We've seen that a few times in the Shanghai Major. I don't think we've seen it in the Dota 2 Canada Cup, but we definitely saw it in the Shanghai Major qualifiers. Interesting to see what compLexity is going to choose to go with. I mentioned that both teams really like the Invoker, but we're seeing neither team going for that. As you really, I don't think it's really a pick that compLexity would want to go with. I believe Zeus beats Invoker in the mid lane. I believe.
10 seconds remaining.
So, yeah, compLexity not going to want to go with that. They go with the Witch Doctor instead.
5 seconds remaining.
That gives them their second support. And it's just a mid laner left for complexity. Now, Digital
Reserve
Chaos can
time.
ban out whatever they want. Whatever they feel like is going to do quite well against Zeus. But you have to keep in mind, Zeus isn't able to really contest the farm
Turn to
of the
ban.
mid hero. He's able to get his own farm, but he's not really able to deny. His ability to last hit is pretty garbage. But of course he uses the arc lightning to last hit, so when it comes to denies, he can't really do much of anything there. But surprisingly, the last ban is going to be the
remaining.
Tusk.
5 seconds remaining.
So we've seen Z-Freak and even sometimes Handskin play the Tusk and both do
Reserve
quite
time.
well on the hero. But with Complexity's heroes, how do they
5 seconds remaining.
think that they would potentially be running the Tusk with the Tusk Undying, duo offlane, Batrider mid,
Dire
Jug,
team
Witch Doctor
pick.
safe lane? Maybe. Maybe that was it. Maybe they were fearing the Batrider mid. Complexity will ban out the Medusa. As we know, that's a hero that Digital Chaos like to go with. We saw them play it last game, although we didn't really have we didn't really have
10
time for
seconds
the
remaining.
Medusa to have a big impact on the game. But then again, really
5 seconds
no
remaining.
hero from Digital Chaos had an impact on the game. So you can't really attribute that really to the
Reserve
Medusa.
time.
So what's Digital Chaos going to go with here? Slark.
Complexity's turn to pick.
Yeah, I think Slark's pretty good. Of course, Slark can always, if he's quick with the fingers, he's able to react to Batrider jumping in and going for the lasso on him. So he's able to just basically break out of that. On top of that, it's a hero that's going to be able to pick off some of the other heroes like the Witch Doctor, even the Undying. And if he's able to get a pounce off on Batrider, that limits Batrider's ability to really run away and
10 seconds remaining.
use his Firefly to hop over trees and stuff because he's going to be locked in place by that.
5
And
seconds remaining.
when lasso isn't really a thing that's really going to lock you down, it means Complexity's lineup is actually locking a lot of lockdown to be able to kill that Slark. And they're going to go with the Queen of Pain, which doesn't really give them lockdown, but it does give them some more burst damage. And it's going to be a Swindle Melon's Queen of Pain, so looks like we may be seeing that Batrider go mid after all. Well, this is going to make things interesting. I don't think I've seen a Batrider Zeus mid in a long time. But you never know. Maybe Complexity aren't going to lane it that way. Maybe they put the Queen of Pain mid, even though we see Swindle's already selected it.
10 seconds remaining.
It's interesting that Digital Chaos have chosen to go for the
5
Zeus mid again.
seconds remaining.
Because once again, you know, Yawar had a lot of pressure applied to him last game, but still he wasn't really able to do much outside of that. He kind of fell behind, and then once again he didn't really make much of an effect on the game. But let's introduce the teams and the players before we talk too much about that. As we got Complexity on our Radiant side. Swindle Melon's going to be playing the Queen of Pain. Limp going to be on the Batrider. Z-Freak on the Witch Doctor. Handskin's going to be on the Undying. And Chessie's going to be on the Juggernaut. As for our Dire side, it's going to be Digital Chaos. We got 1437 playing the Oracle. Mega Man X, aka Mason's going to be playing the Slark. Aoi 2000's on the Enchantress. Promises, aka Yawar, is going to be on the Zeus. And Bulba going to be on the Beastmaster, one of his signature heroes. Not the same as his Clockwork, but still one of his signature heroes. Complexity going for a little bit of an aggressive play here into the Digital Chaos jungle. Thought maybe they could potentially be going for warding and blocking up the camps, but they actually didn't start with
30 seconds
sentries, so
to
not going to
battle.
do that. Now they'll just back away, but they have kind of shown themselves making that rotation into the Digital Chaos jungle, and now they've got to keep in mind, okay, is there maybe some wards that got placed in our jungle that we have to be aware of? And Aoi will wait for some of the camps to spawn to really see if anything's blocked up before he really devotes any of his sentry wards towards that. We're going to have Digital Chaos actually in a prime position to get the bounty runes, but no, Complexity is there in time, so they will split. Top bounty rune going to the Batrider, bottom going to the Zeus. This last game we actually saw both bounty runes going the way of Complexity, and then he even got the kill onto Aoi. It was a great start for them to start things off. But Digital Chaos, they'll be able to stay even at least within this first 20 seconds of the game. One thing I do want to note is that compLexity is playing on the Radiant side here, and this is a team that favors heavily playing on the Dire side. They've played a lot of their games on the Dire side. In fact, I've got written down here, where is it? It's 26 of 32 matches they've played on the Dire side in the last month. Whereas you look at Digital Chaos, they've kind of been split. They've been playing half and half. I think it's 18 on the Dire side, 14 on the Radiant side. So they're pretty much split. They're pretty much used to playing on both sides. But compLexity, they heavily favored the Dire side, and we're not seeing them get that, as they're going to be playing on the Radiant side this time. Surprisingly, though, they do actually have a higher win rate on the Radiant side as well. Oh, the stun is going to come out from the Oracles. Handskin's in trouble. Chessie's got the spin off. It's doing a lot of damage to Mason, but he had pounce available, so he could always pounce away if need be. We won't have first blood just yet. We should point out the lanes. We do have this aggro tri-lane with the Witch Doctor, the Undying, and the Juggernaut coming up from compLexity, going up against this defensive tri-lane, or defensive 2.5 lane, as we've got the Slark, the Oracle, and the Enchantress, which is kind of that half, popping in and out of the jungle. Mid lane's going to be the Batrider going up against the Zeus. Both heroes, of course, already picking up their magic sticks. Both those heroes spam a lot, so they're going to be feeding each other magic wand or magic stick charges. Bottom lane's going to be the Beastmaster going up against the Queen of Pain. We saw compLexity go for an aggro tri-lane in game 1 of the series for the Shanghai Major, and it worked out well for them. It was a pretty different tri-lane, but it worked out quite well, and it led to the kind of cormorant in the aggro tri-lane really snowballing out of control. And part of it was the draft that Digital Chaos chose to go with, and how that aggressive tri-lane really punished them. And we're seeing compLexity go for somewhat of a similar play here by going aggro, going up against an Enchantress. It really weakens Digital Chaos's lane, and it's really going to start to hurt the amount of CS that we see the Slark get. As we see him quite down the list for Mason, he's at 6-1 right now. Whereas you look at some of the other farming heroes in the game, and they've got a lot more CS. But you are also getting some CS on the Enchantress, which is going to tilt the map in favor of your team slightly. We saw the effect from Chen early on, last game for compLexity. Now Digital Chaos kind of takes that advantage. We've got the boots coming in there for Yawars. He's got his bottle. Limp's also got his bottle and boots. He's even got an arcane rune, which, you know, isn't the greatest for the Batrider. It's certainly a lot better for the Zeus, and Limp will be glad that he got that. Of course, arcane rune isn't really bad for any heroes, but it's so scary on a Zeus. I feel like any moment we could see a fight break out here in the top lane, but just not yet. As we're going to have the two supports from compLexity make a rotation towards the top room. We've got a similar rotation coming in from Aoi, but compLexity gets there first. And will Aoi destroy it? No. He will get the destruction off there, as we actually saw Zefree go and stand on the rune to make it difficult for Aoi to click it. But Aoi got the click off before the Witch Doctor was there, so it's easy destruction on the rune. So we actually had a TP from the Witch Doctor down to the bottom lane. I believe the Dark Troll Summoner had vision of him doing that. And yeah, look at this. Bulba's going to completely back and play it safe. He's also been spotted out by this Observer Ward. As for our bottom lane, we haven't really been watching it too much, but it's very even. We've got Swiddlemelons at 23-2, and then we've got Bulba at 21-3, and now he's going to get a little bit more gold from these neutral camps while he's being zoned out by Z-Freak. So bottom lane's pretty much a wash. Mid lane's different story, as Yawar's at 18-1 CS, and we've got Limp at 23 and 4, and this was a little bit more skewed in favor of the Bat Rider about a minute or two ago as Yawar's caught up a little bit, but still a little bit in favor of the Bat Rider right now, so advantage complexity there. Top lane, we've actually got no heroes from complexity as all of them have rotated away and made their way down to the bottom, but we've got Chessie in that little stint of up in the top lane. He's at 15 and 2. He's actually fallen behind Mason, who's at 20 and 5. Or maybe that's why we're seeing this rotation and swap as we bring Chessie down to the bottom lane. But the other reason for that is we've got level 6 available, which means Sonic Wave up on Swindle Mountains, as we expect this Queen of Pain to start moving around the map. So Chessie makes a natural rotation down towards the bottom lane and take that safe lane farm as Swindle Mountains. Oh, he's got to be careful. He's so lucky that we don't have Primal Roar available for Bulba. If 6 was up on that Beastmaster, that probably would have been a kill for Digital Chaos and would have been our first blood. As we're 6 minutes in and we still do not have first blood yet. Quite different than last game where it was less than 20 seconds in.
Radiant's top tower is under
So we're
attack.
seeing some interesting rotations here coming up from complexity, saying, okay, you know what? Our Quap has hit level 6, so she can pop up to the top lane. We can put the Juggernaut in the bottom lane, and this way our Queen of Pain can easily rotate away from the top lane and not really be in vision. We're going to get a bunch of damage in on Swindle Mountains, but he's able to blink away. But that then allows the Queen of Pain to rotate around freely and not really missing too much of that safe lane farm. And we also have the Bat Rider rotate away from the mid lane because he's got his points up in Firefly. He can start doing stacks in the jungle and start farming the jungle more effectively. And that allows Handskin on the Undying to go and sit in the mid lane and get his XP. As we haven't really seen too many rotations coming up from Digital Chaos, as we're going to have a Primal Roar out from Bulba as he's found Z-Freak, and he's going to get a solo first blood, although it wasn't really entirely solo because we had the Thunder God's Wrath coming out from Yawar to assist. But first blood goes to the Beastmaster as Digital Chaos get an early lead so far. Swindlemon's on pretty low HP. He's got no bottle charges, and he might be in trouble here as he's almost going to go down to that. As Mason's going to leap, but not going to find a spot into the trees. Limp has drawn out on the map. Oh, sorry, that was Owie actually drawing out on the map, not Limp. Either way, they're not going to find a engage there as they still don't have the Blink Dagger up on Limp, but he is very close. And this is certainly going to help his farming as he's going to pick up a regen rune. But he's at 2100 gold right now, so another 150 to go. And we're going to have Blink Dagger up on the bat, and that's probably going to be the moment we're going to see Complexity really start going for some ganks. I'm really surprised that we haven't seen them make use of the Sonic Wave from Swindle Mountains, but they could just be waiting for that Blink Dagger. And they're going to combine both those heroes, the Lasso and then the Sonic Wave, for the kills. Z-Freak going into Roche Pit and getting that aggressive Observer Ward up. That really helps them push in the bottom lane and also protects their safe lane from those rotations coming in, which makes it a little bit easier for Chessie and a little bit safer for him to farm in the bottom. Limp has just picked up his Blink Dagger, so that's going to be flying in on the courier, and now Yawar needs to maybe be careful. Because he's probably going to grab this and maybe even go for a kill immediately, but there are some heroes in behind Yawar now. As he's actually going to smoke up with Handskin. They're going to walk down towards the bottom. They haven't seen anyone down here, and they've got that Observer Ward, so they haven't seen anyone rotate down. Not really sure what they're trying to accomplish with this, but now they're going to go towards the mid lane. Problem is that Digital Chaos has numbers here. But they're going to go on Yawar, and they're going to initiate on him as they've got the lasso off. As Limp's going to get stunned up. Tombstone's down on the ground as Limp loses a lot of HP. But gets healed up by the Witch Doctors. Finally, they get the kill into Yawar, but now Owie's come in as well, and he's in trouble as he's going to try to heal himself up. But there's the Sonic Wave from Swindle Mountains as complexity get 2 kills and might even get a tier 1 tower on the back of this.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Because once again, apart from really their Beastmaster and to some extent their Slark, Digital Chaos kind of
Radiant's
lacking
top
wave
tower
clear.
is under attack.
So these early pushes from Complexity, once again, going to be pretty strong. As they've drawn all this attention towards the mid lane, that's created some space for Chessie in the bottom. Put some pressure on the bottom tier 1. But while that's happening, we also have Mason pressuring the top.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
So Bulba actually just caught the courier there. 265 gold on the courier. Not really sure what would add up to 265 gold. I'm trying to think, but it's not happening right now. I apologize. I don't have my courier hotkey set up right now on this this config, so I can't bring it up for you guys to see exactly what's on the courier to check it. But we'll find out in 2 minutes. When that courier respawns. But once again, Bulba going and farming up this camp. But that's allowing Complexity to push in the bottom lane, and now they're even rotating Limp in here.
Structures are fortified.
With 3 cores, they're all pushing in one lane. Limp's actually found Bulba. He's jumped forward and grabbed him, pulling him back. But there comes the Primal Roars. This is not good for Complexity. They're going to lose Chessie. As that was very forced, and oh my goodness, Swindlemelons ends up on the other side as he blinks away, and he runs right into Yawar as he finds the kill there. So Complexity really trying to force a play there and not just going for the safe play of going for the tier 1 tower. So they go for the engage. It doesn't work out for them. Then they even lose their observer ward there because it gets sentried as a result of that initiation, which obviously Bulba called out the fact that there was a ward there. But there's no way Complexity would have had vision of him without that. We get the tier 1 tower down to 133 HP before the glyph comes out. So it's not going to be in deny range, just barely outside. As Swindlemelon's going forward, but he'll have to blink away as he loses a lot of HP, 130 HP. Starts bottling himself back up. The Batrider will actually push the Enchantress closer. As Swindles loses all of his HP there. Omni Slash coming in from the Jug. Splits between the Enchant and the Slark. As the cast bounce around, Aui's going to go down. 1437 now in trouble as he's false promised himself. He's going to lose HP on the end of this, but it's not going to be enough to kill him as Chessie is very low. In fact, he is dead. As we also lost Swindlemelons as well as Mason got the kill on him elsewhere on the map.
Radiant's bottom
Now, he
tower
freaking
is
Limp
under
trying to
attack.
back away, but Mason,
Radiant's
he's
bottom
there. He's
tower
going to find a
is
kill. He gets the latch
Band
onto
raid.
the Witch Doctor, but they won't be able to get the kill onto the Batrider. But now they'll back and they'll take that tier 1 tower. In fact, it's already gone down to the Creeps pushing it, I believe. Yeah, the Creeps got it. And Hanskin actually not a part of that fight, just up in the top lane farming on the Undying, and that's really not something that you really want to see. You want your Undying to be involved in these early fights because Tombstone's so strong, Decay's really strong, Soul Rip's really strong. Pretty much everything in Undying's kit is very, very strong early on in the game. But Undying's also one of those heroes that really likes levels as well. If he can get an early lead in terms of levels, he's very, very strong. So Complexity choosing, you know what, just keeping their Undying up in the top lane. Got his Arcane Boots up, so he's going to be able to cast a lot more in the next fight.
Death tax.
Got him up to level 8 as well. We'll switch on to the net worth. We actually see Mason leading your net worth as Yawar, who just force staffs himself up to the high ground, but Tombstone's going to come out. And this is not going to be a situation that the Zeus wants to be in. He's going to go down as Complexity find a kill. And draw this game a little bit closer, 4-6 now. I mean, with that, we actually have got a new leader. It's Limp in terms of net worth, as he's at 62, almost 6,300 net worth. Then it's Mason, Yawar, and Bulba, as Aui's going to get grabbed here and pulled back to Swindlemelons and Hanskin. As Aui's... That Untouchable makes it takes forever to actually get a right click off, but they do eventually find it and complete it. And they get the kill onto the Enchantress. Bulba now up to Necrobook 2.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower
Once again,
is under
Digital Chaos
attack.
going for one of these split pushes,
Radiant's
but
middle tower
the top tier
is
one's
under
already
attack.
down, so they're probably only going to get this down to about half before compLexity comes back and defends, and they're cheering to the tier 2, but it's just Handskin, and now Mason's wrapped around from behind. The Undying's dead. As Digital Chaos, they only showed a few actually pushing, and they're going to get that tier 1 tower.
has fallen.
As compLexity stayed up in the top
Dire's
lane, they
top tower
placed some
is under
aggressive
attack.
observer wards.
Radiant's middle tower
To also
is under
start
attack.
showing the rotation, as Aui's even drawn it out on the map that they should go for that rotation up towards the top. But this observer ward's completely scouted them out. Now Z-Freak's the only one who's potentially in danger here, but it looks like he'll make it back to the towers. Mason's in hot pursuit, but not really gonna go for the dive on the tower there, as Limp was even hiding in the trees. They knew that maybe he was getting chased. We'll quickly bring up our gold graph here and see a slight Digital Chaos lead, 3,000 gold for them. As for XP, around the same story, 2,500 XP lead. Still very, very even. It hasn't been very compLexity favored as we saw last game. And although Digital Chaos is winning, it's not as favorable for them as it was for compLexity last game. So it'll be interesting to see how this game goes forward, as we once again see compLexity kind of getting in better positions for some of the pushes. But they did try and come back and defend their mid-tier 1 there, and they get punished for it, and they still lost the tower. So in the end, Digital Chaos actually won that trade. And now they're going to go for the Roche. This is definitely one of the reasons why compLexity loves the Dire side, the easy access to Roche. As Digital Chaos is going to take advantage of that, as they're going to burn through this Roche. And he will die, and the Aegis will go to Mason on the Slark, as he's picked up a Shadow Blade. We've got drums coming out for Aoi. Necrobook 3 is now completed by Bulba. 1437's just got his Arcanes and a Cloak. This Chessie can get stunned up there. What's going on? Swindle Melon's in the bottom lane, as he does have Thunder God's Wrath available. He's going to use it, and he's just barely... Oh, not going to get the kill onto the Queen of Pain. Swindle Melon's just barely able to TP away, as Yawar was so close. So close. Used the Thunder God's Wrath for the vision, but just couldn't reach to get that final attack in to kill the Queen of Pain. Yawar has his Arcanes and his Force, by the way.
Dire's
Up to
structures
1,200
are
gold.
fortified.
Oh, here we go. Shadow Blade's been used by Mason. It's a Sentry Ward's a Dire Sentry Ward. He goes for the engage there, but doesn't find it. Limp with the Firefly plop. He's going to look for a Blink Lasso target. Well, he does have a gem. Sure, when tower goes down, as we still don't really see a hard engage, but there it is. Bulba comes in from behind, so he's going to stun up the Queen of Pain. The Necrobook's doing work. As the Quap goes down, so does the Witch Doctor. And the other 3 heroes on compLexity get away safely. But once again, Digital Chaos, great rotation, super great play coming out from Bulba. That rotation in from behind, it looks like we had this limbo between the two teams, and neither team was really going to engage because it wasn't really favorable. And then all of a sudden, Bulba just comes out of nowhere, engages, and just gives Digital Chaos the start to the fight that they needed. That's really what we know and love about Bulba, is just his ability to initiate. He plays really strong initiating heroes. We see him do ridiculous work on Clockwork and even Beastmaster and other similar heroes.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
So the mid tier 2 goes down, the top tier 2 goes down.
Tower is under attack.
Digital Chaos just kind of tickled the mid tier 3, but then they back away. As Limp blinks forward, he will get a lasso off on a 1437, brings him back to his team. Omni Slash going to come out, but the Jug's actually going to bounce back to the Creep Wave. Sonic Wave coming in as well, as Masons just keep going forward. Keep in mind, he does have the Aegis. It's going to get used right now. False Promise getting used by 1437. He pops on the end of it. As Mason now tries to run away, Limp trying to stay in front and body blocking him, but it was to try and block that pounce, but Mason able to juke and get away from it. So he is able to pace and create some distance between him and the members of compLexity. Now Aui's been stunned up, Death Ward getting dropped, as the Enchantress is going to go down, but everyone else from Digital Chaos should be able to TP away or run back to their fountain. and get their HP and mana back up, or maybe if you're Mason, just kind of regen up naturally and just go back to farming. 1900 gold up on Bulba now. So expect that Blink Dagger to be coming out soon. 2400 gold in Yawar. 1437's at 750. There we go. Yawar's just bought his Veil. As for compLexity, what do they have coming out soon? This Blink 4 staff and now Gem on the Batrider is going to be very significant. This is going to allow compLexity to start taking more control of the map. We saw them have a dominating control over the map in game 1. So they're going to look to continue that in this game. And the Batrider with the Gem is really going to help them do so. As for the Undying, almost got the mech completed. Just needs the recipe there. We've got the Urn, boots, and 1200 gold up on Z-Freak. So is that going to be him going for a point booster? He's going to go for something else. His Limp's going to get caught out here. Thunder God's Wrath used, Prime Aurora used, and Gem will exchange hands. As Bulba was the one to pick that up.
Dire's
The
bottom
mech
tower
recipe
is
was on
under
the
attack.
courier for the Undying, so Handskin has completed that. Swindlemount's almost getting that tier 1. And then Snare comes
Dire's
flying in
bottom
from
tower has
1437,
been
but
denied.
doesn't really cancel the TP. Handskin picks up Arcane Rune. Digital Chaos seem very wary of potential Roche push. Was constantly getting pinged out there by 1437.
I'll take that.
All limp. TP's in, blinks forward, 4 staff, grabs 1437. False Palm is getting used, but he is going to go down on the end of that. No, he's not. He's able to heal himself up enough as Chessie. He's spinning to win there. It's actually Mason that finds a kill, but now actually Chessie's on the back foot as he's in trouble here as Mason's on him. As the Omni Slash comes out, but he's hitting a whole bunch of different targets. He ends up on Yawar, which is the closest hero for him to be able to kill. Oh, Sonic Wave just barely misses Yawar. Handskin goes in for the kill. He goes down as well. As now Swindlemelon's on the other side of everyone on Digital Chaos. He's sandwiched between their heroes and their base.
Is under
But
attack.
he's able to blink over the trees and maybe get back to safety. Doesn't have a TP available, but looks like Digital Chaos have given up chase. As Aui's the closest and looks like he's just going down towards the bottom. All the other heroes kind of sticking around in the mid lane, but now they're starting to come down for this bottom tier 2. Looks like that's what the target's going to be for Digital Chaos.
Sprites are with us.
Swindlemon's still staying down here, and that's cutting the creep wave. So Digital Chaos, it's just this creep wave that they have to push with, and notice they've already lost the entire creep wave, so they're not really going to be able to continue pushing on the back of that tier 2 tower.
Radiant's top tower is under
Swindlemon's
attack.
just completed his Orchid. Glimmer Cape up on the Oracle. Bulba's still holding on to that gem. So he's got the gem and the Necro Book, and we're seeing a complete change as I'm going to quickly switch over to our vision for Digital Chaos series. You can take a look on the minimap and just see how much vision they have right now. They've completely taken over control of compLexity's jungle, and this is what Digital Chaos want to do. They want to be able to take control of this part of the map, and that gem has really allowed them to do so. Switch over to compLexity, and they've really only just got this one observer ward up, which has given them good vision here. It's going to allow them to actually engage on the Yawar. But 1437, he's got him backed up there. As now Undying's going to drop the tombstone. It's actually not up on the high ground, it's on the low ground, so they are going to be able to attack it, and Bulba's going to go for that. As Handskin's in trouble here, he will go down to one last attack from Aoi. Chessie is chasing after Yawar on the right-hand side. He's now going to get stunned up by Bulba. And good game, well played. Will get called by Chessie as compLexity just going to tap out of this one. Is just not liking it, not thinking that it's going to really pan out for them. You see the huge gold lead in favor of Digital Chaos. So this one will go to a third game, as that evens it up with Digital Chaos taking the win there. But we almost saw a complete reversal of what we saw in Game 1. Game 1, complexity, taking control of the map, taking towers, and just rolling with it. Game 2, Digital Chaos didn't have as dominating of a performance early on, but then they were able to, once again, take control of the map and start breaking down some towers. We saw a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel for complexity as they started to get themselves back in the game. That gem on the Bat Rider was huge for them, starting to take control of the map back in their favor. But then, unfortunately, we saw Limp get caught out as Digital Chaos set up a perfect gank. They predicted where the bat was going. Limp ran right into them, and they got the kill and that gem, and that allowed them to get so much more map control back, and allowed them to really take control of the Radiant jungle. And then it was, I mean, it was already a real uphill battle for complexity at that point, but that gem changing hands just really sealed the deal. But Digital Chaos take that game, and they'll even up the series at 1 kill apiece. We do have Game 3 coming up in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere, as we're going to have that, and we're going to determine who's going to go on and stay in the upper bracket and who's going to drop down to the loser's bracket. Although they're not going to be eliminated, but they will be forced to play best of ones for the rest of the tournament until they make it to the grand finals. But guys, I'm going to throw it to music. Hopefully don't go anywhere. We'll be back with Game 3 in just a few.